welcome back, and thank you for being here. If you are, you know I'm new and nervous. So I thought I would just do a very quick and simple video on terraforming with the moss block. It looks absolutely amazing. It's a new addition to the game with 1.17. Isn't it beautiful? You probably already know that you can bone meal it to make it spread, so this is just a very fast tips and tricks video on how to control the spread and make it look its best, like quickly and simply. So I've made here a very small representation of the Minecraft biomes. I'm going to start with here, so this is my tiny plains biome. Now this is the way it'll generate in Minecraft. You know, sometimes it's a bit more random. If you do want to terraform the shape, trying to curve off the edges to make it look a little bit more natural is a good idea, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is the top. Now you probably already know that if you put a moss block down and if you bone meal it, it then will spread to every block around it, which is, you know, it already looks lovely. It's a lovely colour. But what we want to do is try to control this spread, because you don't want your entire area to just be moss, which is what you'll get if you just keep bone mailing. What I suggest in this situation is to bone meal the grass first. What happens is obviously the flowers and the grass then spread along the surface area. What we can do is take some of this out to give it a bit more of an even spread, and what will happen is when you then put your moss block down and bone meal your moss block, it will only spread to the blocks that don't have grass or flowers on top of it, so it's a nice and easy way of controlling it without it overwhelming your area. So if I do this, this is just a very quick and simple example. If I now put my moss block down here and bone meal it, you see it'll spread out quite nicely. You can then get rid of that one, maybe come and bone meal this one over here. Let's get rid of these. Two trees too close together, bone meal here and see how that looks. As you can see, it sort of helps randomly spread the moss. I know the grass here isn't the nicest colour, it's because I'm in a creative world, but this will work on almost any terrain, and it will help you to kind of terraform this and make it look lovely and random without having to kind of figure out what blocks you want to put bone meal on and what blocks you don't want to put bone meal on. You know, what blocks you want to put moss on and what blocks you don't want to put moss on. So I think it's quite a nice tool to naturally terraform without it being too overwhelming. So that's a quick tip for your plains biome. Now let's look at the kind of river biomes. Over here I've just made a little pond. It'll generate sort of like this in your world. You know, usually you won't have the edge, it'll be a little bit more random than this, so you might want to go around the edge and just smooth it out a little bit, see how you feel. We're going to be using a lot of Podzol for this. Now my opinion is the sand that you get at the edge of these it contrasts too highly with the dirt in the centre, so I suggest swapping this out for Podzol, just because Podzol holds its colour under the water. It looks a little bit like mud, which I think is really, really lovely, and on the surface, if you add moss block to Podzol, they really complement each other. So if I were to add a moss block here, you can see the two colours are really, really lovely together, I think, anyway. It's just my opinion. So my first suggestion would be to go around and to remove all of your sand and add some Podzol in, give it more of a muddy look. So I'm going to do that now, bear with me. That's already looking better. What you can then do is just go around the edge and just add some Podzol. Try and keep it random, make it look a little bit muddy, a little bit like it's got wet at the edge. It's up to you how you do this. I'm sure you've got your own methods for placing it, but you really can't go wrong with just random spread. Now we're going to apply the same trick that we did before, so we're going to come over here and we're going to bone meal some sections of the grass around the edge. This time I'm going to leave more of the natural spawning flowers and grass in, and then probably take it away once we've added our moss. Because what we want is a nice small simple spread of moss around the edge. You don't want to do your moss too closely to your podzol because it will convert the podzol. There we go, so it's looking a little bit more wild now, which is nice. We've lost a little bit of the podzol. You can go back in and you can change it up if you want to. Just feel it out, see what looks good. The other thing you can do here is if you add moss to cobblestone, you get mossy cobblestone. Actually, let's get some slabs as well. And this is a really nice addition in most kind of water environments. If we go over here, for example, where the moss is kind of overwhelmed the podzol, we could kind of bring that moss downwards. Let's kind of go here into the lake a little bit, so it looks like it's kind of growing downwards, and then you can start adding some mossy cobblestone in, add some slabs in as well because they look lovely under the water. And it all gives it that little bit of extra texture that you don't usually get with a naturally generated environment in vanilla. So if you come over here, maybe we can add some extra cobblestone. You can make a little, let's go like this, add some slabs. This is very quick and simple. I'm sure you've got much better methods for this kind of thing. But you can then kind of quite easily add a source for your water. Add that in there, that'll then spread out and it kind of looks like it's beginning to make algae grow on the bottom of the water or something like that. This isn't supposed to be perfect, this is just supposed to give you an example of the kind of things you can do with the moss block in order to kind of improve your terrain without putting huge amounts of effort into terraforming. If you do want to completely terraform the area, I might do a video on that, but I'm sure there's 100 people on YouTube who are going to do that a lot better than I will. Now we come to our last biome. I've just made a really quick and simple little clip. You do get these in vanilla. Sometimes they look a little bit different to this. You might want to terraform it a little bit, make it a little bit more random. But what I'm here to show you is that if you add the moss block on top of one of these and you bone meal it, what you're going to get is, okay, it looks nice, but the moss block looks really random because it obviously only changes the top block. Now it's really difficult sometimes to look at this and then know what to do with it because, I mean, how do you make that look nice? It's just one block, it doesn't look terraformed at all. But what you can do is make use again with the mossy cobblestone block. Now this, let's get some regular cobblestone as well, works really nicely for just creating a gradient, in particular on places like this. So if you take this mossy block here, put a mossy cobblestone block underneath, and then under that we're going to put a regular cobblestone block, and it starts giving you a really nice gradient into your cliffside. So if you go round and you terraform by spreading the moss first, removing the top layer and giving your brain somewhere to focus on, and then you go around and just randomly add your mossy cobblestone and your cobblestone in varying lengths, that is a really easy way to terraform the side of a cliff without putting a huge amount of thought into kind of the rebuild of it. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll have a look and we can see what you think at the end. Right, so there we are. I've swapped out quite a few of the blocks for mossy cobblestone, and for cobblestone, as you see, you don't need to do every single block. The idea is it just ties the colours in together. The grey is a very different colour to the green, so having an in-between block really helps marry the two together and make your terrain flow a little bit more smoothly. You can go around from here and just get rid of the grass a little bit, thin it out, make sure it's not overwhelming your terrain, or if you do want a really grassy terrain, you can add more bone meal to add them in. You can add more of the little trees that come, the azaleas that come with it, the bushes. You can even grow them up and, you know, then start adding some trees to your build that way. You know, trees are always a lovely addition to your build. And the other thing you can then do is go around and start swapping some of the moss out for cobblestone to tie it in a little bit more. And again, make use of the cobblestone, the mossy cobblestone slab, because that's such a lovely way of making your build feel like it's a little bit more rocky, a little bit more rustic. There's so many things you can do with this, and this is such an easy and useful tool to have in Minecraft. It's really, in my opinion, given us a lot more options with our terraforming. So there we have it. If you just want a really quick and simple way of making your terrain look a little bit nicer than it did before, the moss block is the way to go. And this is just a very short video on a nice way to control the spread rather than just having only moss, which is what you'll get if you do just bone meal the moss constantly. Although it looks lovely, you know, it's a really nice block. It does spread to every block, so you're going to end up with just moss. At least this way you can kind of spread it out a little bit. Alright, I hope this helps someone. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you've got any ideas for what to do next in the series, let me know. And we're going to be doing pointed roofs next, so there's a little sneak peek of my next video. This is being built at the moment. And otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Bye guys!